In this video I'm going to talk about my experience with the 9-day program Entrance to the Subtle Body in the Swami Rama Ashram in Rishikesh. Hello and welcome to this new video. I attended the 9-day program in the Swami Rama Ashram in Rishikesh, and I definitely wanted to share it with you because for me I didn't quite get what I expected, so I want to inform you so you can make a better decision whether this is the right thing for you or not. So I want to start with my expectation, let's say. Basically the only information that I had about this ashram and about the program is the lineage of Swami Rama, which is of course a big name, one of those big Himalayan yogis from some time ago. And I thought, okay, maybe this lineage would be an indicator so that at least it comes from a proper source, from a proper yogi, you know. And for the program itself, so it's a 9-day residential program. And when I registered, basically I had nothing but the name of the program. Okay, Entrance to the Subtle Body. And I was asking also via email what exactly the contents would be. And it was like, you know, not extensive description, but, you know, something like meditation and pranayama and so on. I was thinking, of course, what else is it going to be? And the infos that have been shared before the program started, they have a website and they show you pictures of the cottages where you stay in. And basically, as you can see, like, there is no real difference in categories of these cottages. They took the same pictures for every cottage. And it is said on the website on the moment when I registered that you would stay in that place, you share it with one other person. So I thought, interesting concept. It's not really a dormitory, but you share it with one person, so it's also not private. But I thought, okay. And it looked like it has a small kitchen. The pictures also show a fridge. And they look really neat on the pictures. So I thought, okay, at least the accommodation is proper. I registered, and on their website they say that, you know, you can come, you can stay, you can have food and attend the program, and it's all donation based, right? But the moment I registered, I also had to tell them that I'm from Germany, and when they knew that, they were saying, oh, you're from Germany, so basically you have to pay $35 per day for the program. If you put that into relation of how much you pay here in Rishikesh for what you get for the program, it's quite a bit. I want to break it down a bit for you. So for a dormitory accommodation, you can find it for 300 rupees, but let's say 500 for a 4-bed dormitory is a reasonable price. Private rooms you can find for 700 also, no problem. The food, if you don't pay too much, you can pay 300 per day for the food. And then the program itself is a bit hard to judge, of course, but without saying too much about the program now, but for the quality that I got, I would not have paid more than 500 rupees per day for the program. So all in all, we're talking about maybe 1,300 rupees for what I got. But if you convert the $35 into rupees, that's about 2,900. Let me see. Yep. So that's 1,600 rupees difference, and I'm really wondering where this comes from. Of course, they want to make some money, and it goes into certain things. I'm fully aware of this. But just if you compare it to, like, what do you get and what do you pay for, there's a big gap in this. Also, I want to add that Indian people pay less, which is a common thing here in India. I don't really know whether I like it or not, but Indians pay around half the price. They pay, I think, 1,500 rupees per day. Okay, so that was before I came. And then the infos before I came, there was not really a super smooth communication. So if I didn't ask a few days beforehand, like, hey, when exactly does it start and everything, I would not have received any email. So initially I thought, okay, the program starts, I think it was on the 25th. So I would be coming on the 24th, staying for one night so that I would be kind of already like know what's going on. And because I thought maybe the program starts at 5 a.m. So yeah, so I got no infos. And basically when I was already in Rishikesh, I was calling them and then asking, hey, what's the program? And only then was I told, yeah, it's supposed to start at, I think, 8:30 in the morning this one day with like a small introduction, and so on and so on. So I would think that this is really something you would expect, that this kind of information flow would come from them without the guests having to ask when to be there and so on and so on. So in terms of organization, I mean, the replies were there, but it's just like, I would expect a bit more, like sending out information about the schedule and also about the contents of the program. I found it a bit weak on that side. Now I want to say something about the place itself. I think the ashram is extremely beautiful. The pictures really, I mean, it really looks nice like that. If you check their website, it's super beautiful. And honestly, this may be the most beautiful place I've seen in India because it's so much full of flowers and trees and green. And it's also very quiet. I didn't expect that. It's relatively close to a main road, but like the moment you're in the ashram, you hardly hear anything from the outside. There's also lots of birds, and they have their own tiny little field where they grow some crops. So definitely, I would say it's a very, very pleasant place to be and to stay, that's for sure. The food. I think the food overall was good, but not a huge variety of food. So especially the first few days, like every morning you had they had their toast with peanut butter, and there was really nothing else. So of course it's an ashram, or supposed to be an ashram, so it's not like you go into a restaurant and then you order your stuff, right? So they serve a fixed meal every time, and everyone gets the same dish. I mean, that's to be expected. But in terms of variety, I mean, imagine someone was allergic to peanut butter. There was no alternative, so you would just have, I mean, someone was on the second, third day or something, I saw someone receiving an extra piece of jam, but then they don't really provide like a lot of alternatives. So if you don't like a certain ingredient, or if you're allergic to something, then it may be not so good for you. Also, in terms of, I mean, there was only vegetarian food, but in terms of vegan food, they don't consider that at all. So if there's ghee in the food or milk, they will not label it or anything, and every time you have to ask, hey, is XYZ in that or not? Also, I'm one of those people that really don't like the coriander green, and they put it almost, I would say they put it in every second dish, right? So yeah, there's no other option. So either you eat that food or you leave it. I mean, you can also go out. Of course, you can go out, buy your own food, but I think the general vibe was that you stay in the ashram and you eat the food there, because going outside, it was not in the Tapovan area of Rishikesh, it's more in the south, and basically there's really nothing. It's not a nice area, I guess, around, except in the ashram itself. So in terms of food, I was slightly disappointed, but I also noticed that, you know, I was making a few suggestions, like adding a different tea, because Indians love their chai tea, which is mostly black tea with milk. But again, if you don't drink milk like I do, if you don't consume milk, then you have to skip that. And it was sometimes very cold in the morning, so it was really nice to have a hot drink in the morning. So after I suggested it, they put a second canister there, or whatever it's called, with some tea. But that again was also black tea, and I don't like caffeine or thein to my food. So yeah, it wasn't really the perfect option. They could just have provided some tea bags. But besides, the food was good, I would say. But after a few days, it can get a bit boring. So there's a few points to work on that. Or maybe you just you ask beforehand and you really make it clear that you can't eat X, Y, Z, or that you want something else, or I don't know, or you purchase it yourself. But yeah, in terms of allergy, they don't really consider anything there. You can just leave it. The room, yes. It was advertised that the room would be shared with one other person from the ashram, of course. But when I registered and moved into my room, I noticed there are 4 beds in that place where there should only be 2. And there were 3 people in total. So me plus 2. Which was not the biggest problem, but here again, you know, they were advertising something and then they didn't really stick to it. So what they said was there were a lot of registrations for this program and somehow they had to shift a lot of stuff. That could be, and I don't want to say, you know, they're doing this on purpose or whatever, but for me I think it's really important if you have a contract with someone that it's clear to both sides what they are getting, right? And for some people, you know, even it makes a big difference whether they stay with 1 or with 2 other people. Because also the problem was one of those people was snoring, and this could make a huge difference to the sleep quality, especially if you have to get up at 5 in the morning. That's something to consider. You will not have your private place except maybe if you pay extra for it, which I didn't ask for, but it was okay in general. Also was advertised that there is a kitchen, there is a sink and a kettle, but there is nothing to cook your own food, really. And in terms of cutlery and plates and so on, it was ridiculously little what they had there. So we had to ask for several things, for a few more glasses and mugs and I don't know what. I think they had no knives there. Like really, if you bought a fruit from the outside or anything, there was nothing to prepare it. So the kitchen you could basically forget. Yeah, the people there, the people in the ashram, I think all very friendly. I wouldn't recall anyone being unfriendly really in the ashram. The staff was nice and they spoke English well. Also had the feeling that they were doing something with my feedback, which I always like very much. It's not like, yeah, blah, 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 you tell me, but I won't listen. So I think they were really trying to improve, but if I think, like, I mentioned 2-3 things to improve, and in the end, even way more in the very end. And I was like, why didn't they think of this in the first place? Like, this ashram exists for so many years, I think since 2002, which by now is 22 years. And like, nobody ever had the idea that there could be people who don't drink milk in their tea, or just have the idea to provide some tea bags. So for me, it's an indicator that, like, it could use a bit more brain power in terms of, hey, what about the structure? What about like thinking ahead, thinking for different types of people who come there. That was something that I missed a bit. But I was talking about the people, and so yeah, the people who joined the program, who attended the program, I also think they were all very nice. I got the impression there was a big spanning the level of the people in terms of consciousness and awareness, and also in terms of, let's say, pranayama or relaxation techniques and discipline also. There was really, yeah, from absolute beginner to someone who felt like this program wasn't really giving him anything, which means me. So yeah, there was a huge span of people there, and yeah, some also stay in the ashram for longer. I just attended the program for 9 days, so I can only talk, of course, about these 9 days there. You could also tell that there's, of course, several rooms, so other people from other programs have also been there. Sometimes there was a mix between other programs attending ours, but that wasn't any problem. The Swami Rama Hall, which is the biggest hall they have there, the main room, is big enough to host enough people. And yeah. So no problem in terms of the people who've been there. Now I want to talk a bit about the program itself, which of course is the most important thing. Everything else is just the environment and could provide, you know, a frame, a proper frame to help to be conducive for the program, which I think it was. Like everything besides the program was pretty good, I would say. But the program itself, I noticed on day 3 there wasn't really any red thread in this whole thing, and I really started to question actually whether I'm wasting my time there, because everything that we learned, even up until day 3, is abdominal breathing and relaxation. It was only about these things. There was nothing else really. So the program included 2 talks of the Swami Ritavan Bharati, who is a descendant from Swami Rama and Swami Veda Bharati. And he conducted this program. I think he created this program. So I was talking to him, I think on day 4, early on day 4, if I don't mix something up here, and confronting him, asking him like, hey, is this leading anywhere? What's the red thread? What's the end result? Like, what are we learning here really? And he said that basically, like, there's 2 sessions each day, okay? So we're talking about 9 days, 2 sessions each. And he said that he doesn't have a plan. He's just coming up with these sessions maybe half a day ahead, or maybe not even that. Maybe he's just doing it like just in time. And what I noticed also is that he's not always talking about the subtle body or anything related to that. Sometimes he was talking about the satsang in general, or the lineage, or some kind of like historical things which really have nothing to do with the subtle body, nothing at all. And I found that annoying, to say the least, because I'm someone who doesn't like wasting his time. So I got the feeling, because when he answered me, like when we sat down, which was like for 15-20 minutes, when we sat down he was looking me into the eye, and then I confronted him with my opinion, or my questions rather. I wasn't aggressive or anything, I was just saying, hey, is this leading anywhere? And when he answered me, he looked down like this, and all the time he wasn't looking me into the eyes, as if he knew that whatever he offers there has no quality. I'm a bit harsh now, but my impression is really the program was of a very, very bad quality. There were some aspects, of course, which are useful, like abdominal breathing, relaxation techniques, and then you explain, I mean, it wasn't even explained why really you do it, and what does it lead to? Like, the basics of pranayama were not even explained. Yes, there were some people who had some idea about pranayama, including me. I'm not a beginner with this. But also there are people who never heard the word, and then on one day it was just like, yeah, now we're doing Bhastrika, let's go. And they didn't explain anything. There were no precautions. There was nothing. So definitely I can say not a lot of thinking went into this program. And you know, this one thing which he said, I think on the first day, Swami Ritavan Bharati, he said, basically, you know, Swami Veda Bharati, who's also a student of Swami Rama, he had this, like at a late stage in his life, he had this compiled knowledge, and he wanted to put it all in like one program or into one book, or I don't know what. He wanted to compile it somehow. And basically what Swami Ritavan said is, we wanted to do this, kind of, but we had to make it sound more interesting. Everybody was laughing, ha ha ha. Yeah, but I think that's what they did. So they kind of really, I mean, it would be nice if they did that, but they didn't even do that. It was just like advertising a program, which then, I don't know, it didn't happen. So I was not satisfied with the program on day 3 and 4. And I really thought about quitting a bit, but then I remembered my experience from the Vipassana last year, which is yeah, for 3 days, you're just focusing on this area. You do nothing else. For 3 days, 10 hours a day. So I thought, okay, you know, maybe this is the super basics and they want to be absolutely clear that everyone has the basics before they continue to the next step, and they don't want to give you too much information because the little brains could be overloaded quickly. But as I said, it didn't really happen. So yeah, there were no basics of pranayama. There were a few pointers saying, yeah, I'm going to explain that later in a different session, and then it wasn't explained. Then he made contradictory statements about how long, like what's the perfect ratios of breathing in, breathing out, or even holding your breath. It wasn't explained, like what are the advantages of holding your breath or not holding the breath. What are the different modes? Like what does it mean to have a 1-to-1 ratio of inhale and exhale, or what does it mean to have a 1-to-2 ratio? Nothing of this was explained during all these days. Also on day 9, the last day, there was an excursion, which at first I thought I wanted to attend, and then for some reasons I did not attend it. Also because, yeah, what would happen there would be just another talk from the Swami, which I really didn't want to waste my time on. So it was actually just 8 days of program, really. Or maybe 7.5, because the first day started slightly later. It also started slightly later than announced, maybe at 10 or 11, I'm not really sure. It was supposed to start at 8:30, but it didn't for some reason. And the teachers, there were like 3 or 4 besides the Swami. If I ever use the term like biorobot for someone, then it would apply to these people. You cannot imagine how, I don't know how they can do it, but every session that they conducted they used exactly the same words in exactly the same tone, with exactly the same mispronunciations, which all of them had. Like, it was as if they copied this, like hard copied it from someone else, tried to remember it by heart, and then just you're playing like a cassette player. You just play the play button, they open their mouth, and then these things come out. It was every day, twice, exactly the same thing. I was getting crazy by this. I wonder, like, how can you not go crazy giving this to yourself, like, every day? And I don't know, the people who stay longer in this ashram, I don't know about their regular schedule, but I mean, no. For me, this would absolutely be horror. And at the end, I even skipped a few sessions because I was like, there's nothing really here. One of the days, it was supposed to be a silent day, which means that for 24 hours, you shouldn't speak any word at all. One of the first things I noticed was that the Swami was talking to someone outside the main hall. Just, what kind of role model is that? So, yes, some people were talking, and it's not really in the control of, of the teachers, but the Swami was talking. And also one of his, the guy was always wearing a yellow robe. I liked him very much as a human, but and he also was talking to people. Also in the dining hall, I noticed, like, every day they have 2 signs there saying observe silence or keep silence, and it's intended that people are silent, not just during this one day of silence. And at least 50% of people didn't care at all. Personally, I like it to eat and not say anything. It's not like I have to shut my mouth, but I don't like when someone talks about politics while I eat my food. I want to concentrate on my food, which is also part of yoga. You focus on this one thing you're doing, which is eating. You focus on how does your food taste. But if someone talks to you all the time, first that person doesn't taste his food, and then you're distracted and you are also not tasting your food. So I didn't like that very much, and I could also tell that the teachers were not really following this silent mode. So the teachers were not good role models, so to say. Yeah, and if I really have to say that clearly, and I of course I must have a guess, because I don't really know what this Swami, who does it for many decades, okay? Whatever he does it longer than whatever I do. But honestly, I think he doesn't really know what he's talking about, and his didactic skills are really bad. There is no structure in what he's doing. Sometimes he was just saying utter bullshit. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Some things, you know, maybe he tried to induce some kind of a trance or something. But semantically, what he was saying made no sense at all in 50% of the time. Okay? So you had no idea, where is he going to? Like, what is he trying to explain, really? So, although I can only report about this program that I attended, I strongly suggest, I don't know, if you have some critical thinking and if you can observe the teacher and ask yourself, is this a good teacher? To really ask yourself this question before you register for anything where he's kind of the head of the program. Sorry to say it, and if someone from the ashram hears it, I'm really sorry, but my opinion is that he's not a good teacher at all. Okay, you can hate me, I don't know, but that's my honest opinion. And you would be wasting your time going to this guy or a program that he created. The last few days you could tell that somehow there was also a lack of motivation of some sort. Like, even the teachers, they skipped some programs. Then the guided meditation was a silent meditation, which there was no reason given really why it's now not a guided meditation. So you could tell the energy level was getting low, not just for the teachers, which is bad already, but also for some people there. People stopped attending the programs and so on. Yeah. So I want to sum up my whole experience there in this program. I would say the environment and the ashram itself is a really nice place. Also, most of the people that you meet on a human level, they are very nice. I wouldn't say there's any problem at all. But the Swami Rita Vambarati, and also the other teachers, I think they are not good teachers. I think this is the problem in Rishikesh. Yoga is really a business here, okay? I can understand that, it's okay. And maybe they came from a good lineage and from a big tradition and so on, but it has been corrupted. And I think it's because the Swami doesn't know what he's talking about. And if he does, then he's not good didactically. So my honest opinion is that you would be wasting your time attending these programs. In terms of money, I mean, if you compare it to different countries, it's not that much, right? $35 per day if you come from a rich country. It's not that much. And if you come from India, it's even less. But yeah, for me, it's not really about the money. If the program was good, I would have gladly given that money, but the program was not. It really was not good. So I hope that this video was helpful in giving you an impression of, of course, my experiences, but I hopefully was able to help you make a decision on whether you should go there or not. Of course, it's always up to you. You could have a totally different opinion than I do. That's up to you. Thanks for watching this video, and see you on the next one.